Hey everybody, and welcome back to Mark My Words, where today we are covering Far Cry 6. And wow, what a disappointing entry from EA. Let's jump straight into it. So obviously let's just jump straight into the story, give you a brief understanding. Far Cry 6 takes place in 2021 on a fictional Caribbean island of Yara, currently being led by a dictator named Anton Castillo and his misunderstood son Diego. You are Danny Rojas, a former guerrilla fighter who found his way into the resistance, Libertad, to fight for the freedom of Yara. Along the way, you're going to meet different characters fighting for their own freedoms in the 3 different sections of Yara. Your overall goal is to unite the resistance fighters and take down Castillo, bringing freedom to Yara. Now, in concept, this is actually a pretty good story. Like, it does sound like Far Cry. You can obviously see this very Far Cry gameplay, but there's something missing about this game. Like, the story feels okay, but not good enough for the games that they've come before. With Far Cry 3, 4, and 5 really hitting hard and actually doing really well in the scores and all that kind of stuff. But there's something about Far Cry 6 that just misses the mark. They've obviously brought in this big name actor to obviously play Anton, and he does a good job for most of all. I'm not gonna lie, one of the best parts about this game is Anton and his son Diego, and that relationship, how that relationship changes, molds, and grows throughout the story. But the issue is, they're hardly in the game. They're actually in the game for probably like, what, 6 to 8 cutscenes. Every time you take down a major boss, you'd say, you get thrown a cutscene of what they've been doing, and that's it. You will see them for 6 to 8 times, and that's all till the end of the game, and it's not good enough. I mean, you bought this big name actor. We want to see him. I mean, Vaas from Far Cry 3 probably had what, like 8 hours of actual screen time in the entire game. He was there a lot, and he was there tormenting you a lot, but this guy just seems like he's just in the background. And I'm not going to lie, the characters that you meet, the characters that you're meant to be with for 90% of the game, I couldn't care less about them. I didn't even know why I was helping them most of the time. Like, I'm trying to free Yara, why do I care? I want to move to America. That's the whole story, the whole thing, and it just didn't hit with me whatsoever. Let's move on to graphics, and wow, what a throwback to PS3. This gameplay here is obviously my own gameplay recorded off the PS5, and it's just not good enough. I mean, obviously I've come off playing Death Stranding. If you haven't seen that review, I'll link it in the description. But Death Stranding obviously looks fantastic, and going to Far Cry 6, you could put this next to Far Cry 3 and I probably wouldn't see the difference. There is a video out there, I'll also link it in the description, of someone comparing the fire elements in Far Cry 3 to Far Cry 6, and Far Cry 3 looks better. Like, it spreads more naturally, while the Far Cry 6 you do get a flamethrower pretty early on, but it's just not good enough. The overall character design looks okay. I mean, Anton could have actually like been made a bit more crisper, but even then, like, there's just, even with their main villain, the person they've spent the most amount of money on, he really doesn't look that great. He just looks like he's off a PS3 early PS4 game. I mean, I thought from now they would actually put a lot more effort into. The only thing I will give a positive for the graphics is the weaponry. The weaponry is detailed. It looks really nice. You can, when you look down sights and you get those little bit of extra crisp details, that is quite nice. But that is honestly the only thing. Even the landscape, I don't have much positive to say about that. Speaking of positive though, the biggest positive I do have is the audio. The audio is really good. So voice acting is really good. The guns and vehicles sound really nice, along with the explosions. Every single time you shoot your gun, it has a nice big grunt to it, and it actually sounds loud and full of action. It's actually really good. But then the biggest positive is when the normal Far Cry status of when you drive around, you're going to have your radio playing with some music, and normally the radio of the island that you are on, and your character will actually sing to the radio, and I love that. I was actually nodding my head, tapping my feet, going, you know what, this is actually really cool. And every time a song would come on that I actually knew, which is also a great feature. It might be in a fictional world, but they played music that actually someone might know. And your character singing, you're bobbing along to it, that was actually a really good experience for me. If it wasn't for the 3 minutes it took me to go from point A to point B and then it was over. Another thing is the weaponry. So Far Cry does get a lot of positives about their weaponry. They're always known for having really good guns. Far Cry 6 I think has actually missed that. So you do get a new weaponry called a Supremo, which is basically a backpack that gives you certain abilities. The first one you get shoots about 6 to 7 rockets at nearby enemies. They actually just self-target them. It's pretty okay, but you actually almost forget it happens. Far Cry to me is a very silent game sometimes. It's so easy to just take a silenced weapon and just mow down an entire area, and then once you're ready and you know there's not many people left, you'll go a little bit loud and proud. But the worst part about the gunplay is they give you the best gun at the very start. They give you a rifle, which they show you how to put a scope on it, and they show you how to put a silencer on it, and they give you armor-piercing bullets. I'll tell you right now, you don't actually need another weapon. It is fun, if for the point of fun, you can change weapons, but they actually won't be strong enough compared to this rifle, in my opinion. The only thing I will suggest is grabbing yourself a rocket launcher for those tanks and vehicles. There is one pretty early on, but you actually have to go out of your way to find it. But otherwise, weaponry, like, you do get different weapons. You get some fun weapons. For example, one of my favorites was an Uzi that actually starts fires. So when you shoot, your enemy actually catches on fire as you're shooting. But you really actually don't have to. If you kept this rifle and a rocket launcher, that could be you to the end of the game. I swear it, you would not need another weapon. And that's almost disappointing. I like the idea of switching it up and, you know, finding something going, oh, cool, oh, sick, this does more damage. But it just doesn't. The first gun at the start will actually help you all the way to the toughest rank enemies at the end. It's crazy. And this is the part I've been looking forward to with this video review is I don't normally get a lot of bugs. When I played Cyberpunk, I didn't really get a whole lot of bugs, but Far Cry 6 is probably the buggiest game I've played. I've got a couple of bugs on the screen, and every time I started to enjoy myself, either I would get thrown bugs, or I would get thrown into some kind of building with about 10 to 12 enemies, and this game likes to say you're a one-man army, but it does not take a lot to kill you. I'm talking about 5, maybe 6 bullets, and you're dead. And there's even rocket launcher guys that will actually kill you in one hit with a rocket launcher. And this is just on action mode. There's an action mode and a story mode. Action mode is just normal, while story is like specifically you want to play the story and not have that much of else of an experience. But the bugs, there's just so many of them, and it's just, oh wow, I didn't enjoy that part whatsoever. Speaking of Far Cry leaning on their main villain, I also feel like the DLC they're planning is just based on the main villains. In other words, Far Cry 6 can't stand on its own feet to create its own DLC. They then have to fall back onto the 3 main villains they've actually succeeded with. That's how I'm seeing it. I understand some people might just be like excited to see the other villains in action again, but they're really not offering a whole lot with this game. It's very disappointing. So you know how we do it here, guys. We go through the pros and cons at the end, and then we give an overall review. So let's go for those dot points. Pros, the audio is fantastic. There's fun moments, but they're a bit few and far between. The relationship between Anton and his son grows and feels nice. They've paid a lot for this actor. He does give his performance, but they just hide him in the game, and it sucks that that happens. And once again, gunplay feels really nice, especially with the PS5 with the adaptive triggers. Every single shot, you feel it, and it feels really good. The cons, there's a lot of them. Lots of bugs for me. No skill tree. I forgot to mention that before. There's no skill tree that is replaced with gear. And skill tree to me is just so Far Cry. I love seeing a good thought out skill tree. But just the gear, honestly, you can not look at it for the whole game and actually won't change your experience. They do things like, you know, you don't fire protection or a bit more protection with armor piercing rounds, but honestly, you could just not put it on and it won't change your experience. There's no need to diversify in weapons because they give you the best gun at the start. Graphics are just awful. I mean, they have their moments, but they're like, we're past the PS3 to early PS4 day. We want good looking games. So I really hope Far Cry steps that up. And honestly, the characters that you spend 90% of the game with, you just don't care about them. I didn't care about them. I don't even remember their names. I don't even actually remember their names whatsoever. So an overall review, I'm going to be pretty harsh here, but this is just my thoughts. If you have different thoughts, please comment below and let me know. But Far Cry 6 is just missable. It's easily forgettable, and I don't even see myself thinking about this game in 2 days' time. Such a shame, considering Far Cry games are usually really good experiences. Once again, I understand everyone has their own opinions with these games, and Far Cry is such a beloved series. I was just disappointed that it probably didn't hit the mark for me, but that's alright. If you guys had a good time with this game, that's fantastic. Please comment below, let me know how you did with those experiences. I know they were pretty good, so yeah, let me know how that goes. For Far Cry 6, mark my words, today we are giving it a 4.5 out of 10. It's just... Alright guys, that was the Far Cry 6 review. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to bring you another video very soon. And for anything else, mark my words, please go to my Facebook, Instagram. They are getting updated daily, and we are now introducing scheduling for some little exciting things that might be popping up. Please go to the Instagram and check that out. I've got a link in the description of all those social medias. So till next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one. See you later.